Hey there, I saw this question asked by Jay Sibley where they wanted to know how to control the opacity of some CMS items based on a field in the collection. I thought it would make for an interesting use case, so I want to demonstrate a couple ways you can make this happen using a field in the collection and some custom code. So let's go hop into Designer and I can show you a couple ways to make this happen. So here we are back in designer mode, and before I get into any of the options, I just want to break down the structure of the project so you can see how I built this up to this point. So I have a collection here with a couple of collection items, and all of this is being pulled by a collection called Opacities. And how Opacities works is the collection name is Opacities. We have our usual name and slug. But then for the custom fields, I added a plain text field called opacity, and then a sort order field just so I can control the sort order of the items for this video. Looking at some of the items, for example 80, I gave it a name of opacity-80, and in the plain text field for opacity, I gave it a value of 80. So with that said, I'm going to go back into designer mode. And in this collection, I'm going to go down to the collection item. And in the settings, I'm going to scroll down to the custom attributes. And in custom attributes, I'm going to give it a custom attribute of data-opacity. And then I'm going to pull the value from that opacity field. So I'll add the attribute. So now each one of our collection items is going to have a data attribute of data-opacity and the value that is specified in that opacity field. So with that being said, the first example we're going to demonstrate is purely CSS based. Now, there is a caveat to this, is that with the CSS only approach, you will be able to see it in designer mode, but it will require some preemptive work on your part with the CSS embed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop in a code embed. So I'm going to use the shortcut Command or Control E, and I'm going to drop in the code embed. I'll give it my style tags. And then I'm going to add the following CSS. And basically what this is going to do is I added several values for the data opacity attribute. For example, if data-opacity has a value of 0, the opacity will be 0. If the data-opacity has a value of 25, the opacity will be 0.25. Now, this will require that you know what all the potential opacities you want will be, and you'll then have to add it into this embed. So this could get potentially really long or really short depending on how much variation you want in the opacities. So I'm going to save and close, and then we can see that our items now have a different opacity. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this embed and show you the second option, which is pure JavaScript, where you don't have to worry about adding or knowing what the future values could potentially be. So here we are back in designer mode, and I went ahead and removed the code embed that had our custom CSS that controlled the opacities. And to have a JavaScript only approach, quick reminder is that you're only going to see this on the published site. So the editors or designers won't see this in designer mode, but will automatically take effect when you publish the site. So with all of our structure set, I'm going to go to the page settings for this page. And I'm going to scroll down to our before body tag, and I'm going to add the following JavaScript. And basically what this is going to do is it's going to find the opacity that we added for the data attribute and apply that to our CMS item. In addition, if the user types in full and it's not case sensitive, they can type all caps, they can have the capital F, lowercase ull. As long as full is in there, it will also have a full opacity. So as long as full is in there, it will have full opacity, or if any value is specified, it will have that specific opacity. So I'm going to save and close, and I can go ahead and publish. And if I check out our live site, we can see that all the different opacities have taken effect. And the cool thing with this method is that you won't need to do any kind of future proofing to know what the opacity could be. For example, let's go back into designer mode for a second. So here we are back in designer mode, and if we go into our collection, and let's just say, for example, for the full opacity, we change this to be 28 and republish, and go and check out our live site. The opacity dash full item now has an opacity of 28. So this is how a couple ways you can control the opacity of items using the CMS and a little bit of custom code. Hope this helps. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.